What happens next year? Well, I have with me the ANC's head of elections, Fikile Mbalula. Very good to have you with us. What are you going to do next year?
Well, the story of the ANC in the last 24 years is a story of the good outweighed by the bad. And we are committed to turn the tide because there is good.
It doesn't look that way right now.
There is good in everything that we have done in the past 24 years. And that story will be told and unraveled
but
as
how
the time goes on.
How are you going to tell that story when there's so much bad at the moment?
What is bad has always been with us. Has been with us, and we're committed to push it back where it has occurred, and we're very much aware of that, and we accept with open arms the criticism where we have not done good. Hence, we're on the path of winning the trust of our people back, and to ensure that we get overwhelming majority. We don't deny, we don't fudge, we don't philosophize. Where it is bad has been bad. There are decisions we could have taken that would have undermined this bet, and we have not done that. And from Nazareth in the new dawn, our commitment is to push back the tide, to ensure that we win back the trust of the people.
But you're going to have to do quite a lot. I mean, you can't, Nene was probably a godsend in the fact that he offered his resignation. But for those who are facing other accusations of being, incompetent or linked to the Guptas or, taking advantage of their ministries, shouldn't something be done to address all of the allegations against?
All the allegations you're talking about, are there no decisions that have been taken by our government?
They're still sitting.
They are. Take the VBS, the intervention from the High Office of the President in ensuring that there is curatorship and that nothing must be fudged, the bad must be dealt with. And today we're dealing with the bad. Who led that? The very same ANC. The people said to us, you didn't do good with the allegations of the so-called state capture. Whether or not it does exist, we said no philosophizing about it. Let's get on with it.
But VBS, you had to do something. I mean, it was big enough and public enough to have to do something.
It is not the ANC government that did that. It is, among others, elements who were trusted with the purse of the poor and so on. And what the ANC did through the leadership that it has got in government, it could have just put this thing under the carpet because it's election year for everybody. We didn't do that. The president, the treasury, intervened and said curatorship. And then after curatorship, the Reserve Bank appointed an investigator. And then the report was sitting with it.
I mean, would you have done this? Would the ANC have done this if it hadn't been that public falling out? Because that seems to be the only time that there's the pressure to do something.
Jane, let's deal not with fuss and imaginations. Let's deal with the reality.
That is a
reality. How did we get to where we are in terms of VBS? It is government, it is the decisiveness of the Reserve Bank. It is the leadership in the country. We're not talking 10 years back, we're talking yesterday. Isn't it that Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of this country, said that let's get it on, despite the fact that he was accused that some in our midst were saying very loud, they are killing the spirit of black entrepreneurship and all of that by instituting curatorship against the tide of populism. A decision was taken, and we have arrived. And that is what we talk about when we say that we are here to walk the talk and push back the tide to ensure that we win the trust of our people on issues that any good government should do. And we accept that there are things that happened that shouldn't have happened, and we allowed them to happen. And we are on the path to change them and to stop them and going forward. Okay. And over and above that, there's not only commitment, but there is action on the part of our leadership.
Well, that's very good to hear. Right, so action on part of the leadership, clean up the act within the ANC. It's going to be a tough job. What about bringing the youth back to the party? And I'm asking you this because, as head of the ANC Youth League, you were very impressive. You had, a good following there. You made quite a dramatic impact. But Julius Malema, he's taken them away.
Well, I'm not here to argue about what Julius Malema has got. and what he's not having.
He's got the youth.
And the issue is that young people are not a homogeneous entity. And simply because a youth voice, which is the EFF, has got following in many rallies around the country, that will be tested in the ballot, because I can argue with you that that number has not increased over 2 consecutive elections. It has remained stagnant. But look, let me tell you this. Research is a science, election is an art. Now, the fundamental question of what you are raising, that the youth is not with us, I live every day and working every day with young people who are in the frontline trenches of the African National Congress. And we've got to get along with them and ensure that we address their issues. The issue is not about the Youth League, it's what does the ANC do to intervene and understand the different, sectors of youth within this homogeneity, and what we need to do for the youth.
And do you think the ANC understands it? And if the ANC understands it, how come so many have defected to the EFF?
Julia's got a youth that was not activated and activated them. The youth of the ANC remained with the ANC. So what he got there, yes, there are few which followed him, but the majority are with us, and they are still in the ANC. The question of activism among the youth is very important. And in this particular instance, the political home of the youth in the ANC remains a challenge, because when Malema left, we were left with the Youth League, which we are rebuilding now, which must actually continue to represent that activism and dynamism of young people and keep us as the ANC mother body on our toes. But besides that, the ANC is responding to the question of youth unemployment, but over and above that, not taking young people simply and patronize them because there is an election, but to address their concerns earnestly and diligently.
Did it hurt when Malema was the darling of the party for a bit before he left? And what sort of impact do you think that had on the party overall?
Well, the leaving of anyone from the party does have an impact, even if it is 1 or 2 or 3, all the time. Malema was a very central symbol of the ANC in the form of being the president of the ANC Youth League. And he was expelled, he went to form his party, and it generated support among the youth, and that's why he's in parliament with about 25 members and 1 million followers. Now, in itself, it has affected us, the same as the formation of COPE.
He's projecting massive gains for next elections. Do you think he's going to be able to get that?
Like I said, research is a science, election is an art. The projection you might have might not obtain in the election day. These projections have been there, but our task as the ANC is not to argue with that. We're doing what we're supposed to do to win the trust of the people all across sections of our society.
Okay, and
the ANC is a mass movement.
What are you going to do? Because it's your responsibility.
Yes.
It's quite a big job.
Yeah.
So, okay, so trust, appealing to the youth. What else? What's the platform, and what are your projections for the ANC?
What the elections present to us, they present to us an enormous opportunity to demonstrate to South Africa what we have done beyond the headlines. To say that this is what we have done concretely and practically, and the people on the ground, and where the ANC has delivered throughout the country will agree with us. And where we have not done so, it is an opportunity to go to them again, to say that indeed, in these years, we have not been able to change this, which we could have done quite faster. But we think now we've got policies that enable us to move with the speed that cannot be compared even to the Gautrain. So that's where we are. And that is why we open up the process of the manifesto, People's Manifesto. As of yesterday, I was down on the ground in Alival North, in Malzwai, and in the Northern Cape, Francis Bard. People were saying these are the things. Young people were saying that in construction, in business, we need to advance entrepreneurship. Your policies in relation to the deadlines you put to uplift the SMMEs is killing us.
Okay, I'm going to hold you there for a minute. We've got a caller, Mangaliso from Mpumalanga. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's your question?
Okay. Mr. Mbalula is just making empty promises. The policies of the ANC, they are so nice and rich and they fail to implement them. And the only thing that we saw in these past 10 years is a corruption. The corruption is growing like a grass in this country, and which is us as a black people, particularly those who are not educated and those who are staying in the formal settlement, like me, we become more poor. And then now they keep making empty promises that they're going to fight the corruption, and then which is the ANC that is there. Is the ANC that was running behind Jacob Zuma. And then it doesn't matter that when you change the driver, but the vehicle is still the same. The only thing that they must change is the wall, the wall vehicle, the wall car. They must fix it. But how are they going to fix it?
Okay.
And then the other thing now we're facing...
You put quite a few points out there. How do you respond to that? How are you going to fix it? And surely actions speak louder than words.
No, he's right. Mangaliso is right. I think there's been a buzzword, corruption, associated with us. But over and above that, there's a lot that has been done, which has not been a buzzword because that does not constitute good news. But mixing it up with the bad, it means that our message has not actually filtered to people like Mangaliso.
I mean, does the party get how angry people are, how freaked out they are by this constant bad news coming from the people that they voted into?
Yeah, we agree with that. It's bad news. Corruption must be fought. It's a cancer that eats into the fiber of our society.
And you've got to mean it. You've got to do something about it.
Of course, we're doing something as I'm speaking to you now, including about VBS. We are responding to that because there is this perception that we have not been doing anything about corruption with people implicated in it and all of that. But corruption does not only eat to politicians. It is a cancer that eats into the fiber of society in terms of the private sector and everybody.
Because
and it
if politicians are doing it, then it's a message to everyone else that just go ahead, take
we can't agree with you more. That is why we are more determined to actually deal with it. And every day we are putting measures to ensure that we push back this perception. But Jane, even with your caller, there is admitting that there is something good in the ANC. And at the same time, the caller is not in despair. He's saying that correct your implementation measures in what you agree with your policies you will do.
Okay.
Am I here to say no? No. We have to do exactly what Mangaliso says we must do.
What about Ayanda from Cape Town? What is it that you want to know, Ayanda?
Yeah, hi Jane, and hi to Mr. Mbalula also. My question that I would like to pose to Mr. Mbalula is that we've heard about the allegations of people from that VBS bank. My question that I would like to know is this. According to yesterday's paper, the president knew about this ongoing corruption on that VBS. Most people already spoke to him about this, something like this that is happening. He was deputy president. So I would like to know what is the president's plan about that VBS, because that's more like a disgrace that happened in the thing. I would like to know what is the ANC or the president plans to deal with that. We are seeing on TV what is happening, and most people are coming forward. We heard that.
Okay, Ayanda. Okay, thank you. Firstly, deal with those allegations against Cyril Ramaphosa that he knew a year or so back that this was happening and he didn't do anything about it.
Well, that is some of these are just manufactured news. The reality is that once it was brought before the attention of the president, all what we have seen is action since he came into power and being the president. If, for instance, 16 years ago, President Ramaphosa knew about VBS and he speaks Venda and probably he's got friends in Venda, don't you think that the president could have sat on this thing and say that put it under the carpet because, look, I'm defending my people here. I'm Venda, you know, and these people are from Venda, and there is nothing wrong. And people are saying that, no, you are doing away with a black bank. What would have a president who's corrupt would have done? Would have just looked away and say that, no. Go with the popular sentiment. This president, Ramaphosa, not yesterday, today we've got the results. Terimutau, giving them to us as they are, from this president. From this president, the Treasury acting decisively.
Okay.
Blackmail and everything else. He said, the president, that curatorship does not mean all the time when it is introduced, it will safeguard. It is about assisting the poor. We are here where we are because of action.
And thanks for talking us through it. You're going to have to pull off quite a job to reverse those numbers and get the ANC numbers up. Fikile,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Coming up next, we look at the current state of medical stockouts in the country. Just how bad are things and what exactly is being done to help patients?